Hello classmates and welcome back to another video, and in this video I will be painting QJ from the anime Zenshu. And to change things a little bit around, I try to paint like a little joint so his arms could move a little bit. And if you want to print the judge as well and see if he works on some of your projects, I will leave the thing name in the description. Just go to Thingverse website and put the number, and I think you will find it. Now for the anime, you can expect like a pretty good quality anime because it was nice. It is Studio Mappa that is animating, so you cannot expect anything less for them. But I will not say that it is kind of ironic, because if you know how Studio Mappa treats their employees and everybody that animates, they do not treat them very well, like not at all very well. So I thought this was a little bit ironic. Like, the anime, it is about I'll not spoil, I will talk about like this later, but the overall themes is that this anime is about like an animator that gets killed and is like isekai to another world. So I would say it is like a sick joke, but that's beside the point. I just thought that that's very ironic that Studio Mappa make this one. Now, putting the controversial take aside, I think the anime is very well done, especially in the mahou shoujo like transformations of the character Natsuko, and you can even see in the characters that she draws. You can even see like the sketch lines, and I think it is these kind of details that really takes Studio Mappa to another level of animation. And overall, I think even in the themes of Zenshu, it is a very much a breath of fresh air from like the generic isekais that we were getting for the past, I would say like a decade or like 5 years. And I think that is one of the points that Zenshu really shines. So first things first, let me explain a little bit about the premise of this anime. And at first it seems like a very simple and straightforward anime. So we have like 9 kingdoms that have a giant crystal atop of them that is called a soul future. And a soul future brings life to everybody, but there are like some bug type creatures that are called the void, and the void wants to eat the soul futures and destroy this world to summon. I don't remember exactly if it is called like the supreme void or the last void. I don't remember the name of the creature they want to summon. And to defend the soul futures, each kingdom elected a hero to fight those voids. But here's the thing. Here's the catch, and let me say, like, this is why this anime is very good. All of that I just said, it is a actual movie, an actual anime movie inside of this anime. So when we have our protagonist called Natsuko, she is an animator that was inspired because she watched this movie when she was a little kid and she really enjoyed the movie. So when she gets isekai'd into this movie, she is thrilled. She loves this, but inside she knows that the ending, it is a not very good ending. So the whole show is that she is trying to prevent the bad ending of this movie. And I think that premise really is like a very good premise. Now for the cast, we have our protagonist, and she is called Natsuko. And let me just tell you, she has a very unique kind of like how do I say, design to her, because she's like a little girl with a whole ass like hair that covers her face, and I think it is not until episode 2 or 3 that we see her like full face. But when when she worked at the studio before she gets isekai, she is like a very otaku like character because she is like a genius in making animation. And when she doesn't like the animation that her colleagues make, she just overwrites the animation and do like everything over again. And I think she was working to like make a direct a anime movie of her own, and that is called First Love. And like remember that because that will be kind of important later on. And but she has a creative block and she doesn't know. That's until she eats a spoiled clam and dies, and that's when she gets isekai. But here's the thing, even when she gets isekai, she is still like an annoying character. And like we know that every isekai protagonist is overpowered, and that is still the case in this anime. But let me just say, this is gonna bite her in the ass later on. Now, on the other hand, we have Luke, and Luke is a very handsome and reliable character, and I think everybody in the cast relies on him a little bit. And he's a very generic kind of protagonist at first, but as we get to see and interact with him a little bit more, we see that he's like a very troubled character inside. Because by the time that they find Natsuko, they're on their last soul future, and I think 5 out of 9 heroes have died, and Luke thinks to himself that he was the problem, that like all of the other heroes died because of him. And I think later on we get a little bit of romance between Luke and Natsuko, and I think that is a very nice way to introduce him, like I will not say the soft side of him, that when he interacts with Natsuko, and is like so cute when they both of them interact. Now, for Yuno and QJ, although they're pretty much support characters and just made to be funny, like a little mascot character, I think they're one of the most important characters for the whole anime, because they helped Luke and Natsuko a lot. Like for example, Yuno. Yuno was, I think, the first companion that like joined Luke after he became a hero, so he knows the whole thing that Luke went through. And although I don't think he fully understands the situation of Luke, he was the first ones to understand his feelings. And now for QJ, like if you know that scene, like when I'll say this a little bit of spoilers later on, but he sacrificed himself. And even when Natsuko told him the end of the movie, and the end of the movie was that the one that was going to destroy the soul futures was not the void, it was Luke himself. And even when I think Natsuko told him that, QJ stood by Natsuko and like kept his mouth shut to the end that he sacrificed himself. And I think he was one of the best characters in the whole anime. Now, for the elf character, Memoru, I think she is one of the most interesting ones because she starts off a little bit distant from the cast. Like she is a little bit not rude, but she like a little bit cold. But we understand that, I think, in episode 4 or episode 3, I don't remember exactly, but we understand that she's in a cult that worships the void because she wants to see the world to die. doesn't want to live in a world that she like her friends are going to die because elves practically live forever, and like Luke, I think Union, even I think QJ, I don't know, but like everybody's going to die and she's going to still be remaining there. And I think in the end of the episode, I think Natsuko brings her back, creating a character, and that was a really cool scene. And that's when she starts to open up a little bit more and get the cult. I think not the cult, but the other elf characters to help her, especially in the end. You're gonna see in the end they help a lot in the plot. Now for Destiny, and that is this kind of princess-like character. I have a little bit of a lukewarm opinion about her because she's not bad, but she feels like a little bit of placeholder. She doesn't have a lot of depth compared to Memorum, compared to Unio, and it's not that the character is just like thrown in there, but I think that is by a very clever design, because like in the movie that Natsuko watched, in the real world we see that the first signs of the downfall of Luke was he kind of like start dating Destiny. So I think Destiny serves more like like an analogy that since Destiny get out of the way, she starts an orphanage. If that is what I think, I don't remember very well, but she starts like in an orphanage, and she doesn't like pursue Luke anymore. And now I think Luke fell for Natsuko, so Natsuko pretty much feel the void that Destiny left for Luke. So now Natsuko is the romantic partner of Luke. But for me, the best character by far, and it is one of the characters that get the least screen time of the novel, it is this dragon-like character, and that is Justice. Because Justice starts off like a kind of drunkard character, a character that has been through a lot. I think she lost her wings in a battle, and now she's a drunkard in the slums. But we saw her redemption arc in, I think, in the last episodes, and in the last battle, I think was one of the best scenes of the anime by far. So she is my favorite character, even though she gets the less screen time of them all, but she's still a very cool character if compared to Destiny, at least. So if you know a little bit more about anime, especially in the fantasy genre of anime, and that is isekai, that is like the most common type of fantasy anime nowadays, you know that one of the like the most prevalent trope is that the protagonist is always overpowered, and in Zenshu this is still true. But in this is why I told you that this is going to be like her later on, because Natsuko starts off like a powerhouse. She draws things that destroy the void. She knows about the plot, so she can prepare, and that is one of the problems. She gets cocky, just like when she in the real world she was drawing and she took everybody like the work of the other people and told them to redo it. She still get cocky here, and I think that is one of the lessons that she learns, is that I think in episode 5 or 6 she lost a extremely important battle, and we saw that the Void used her previous drawings to take inspiration and use the silhouette of her drawings to destroy Natsuko drawings in this battle. And she lost, but what is more important is that in this episode especially, the other characters won not by relying on Natsuko. They use their own powers, their own strategy to take down this enemy. And I think in the whole anime we saw that sometimes Natsuko needs to learn this lesson, and I think this is one of the first lesson, and that is to rely on others. Now, the reason that I think that Zenshu worked really well is that throughout the episode, and especially in the end of the episode, you are always in the tip of her toe, because like the anime has sort of like a sense of butterfly effect, because Natsuko does some things, she protects some characters, and the whole thing is that this movie, this anime is a self-fulfilling prophecy. And this is a little bit hard to understand at first, but bear with me, because it is some spoilers, and I think if you want to watch the anime spoiler free, I think you need to turn off the video now, because I will get like really hard into spoilers. So Natsuko wasn't the only one that was isekai into this movie. The other person that was isekai, it was the director, and she sort of like becomes this bird-like vulture thing, and she keeps teasing Natsuko every single time that she cannot change the end of her movie. And I think the reason that this bird does not is not something that is thrown at random is that when we pace back in the later episode, we saw that even though the Natsuko saved Memorum, she saved Yunio, the whole thing that starts the end of the war in the movie was Luke's downfall, and Luke's downfall in this world is still not preventable, because even though Destiny is no longer Luke's love interest, now Natsuko takes her place. So things had not changed that much to prevent the whole bad ending. And I think one of the reasons that this stuck like a lot in the ending was that QJ, I think in episode 8 or episode 10, he sacrificed himself to protect everybody. And this goes like totally against the things that Natsuko was trying to do. Like she was trying to protect everybody. And I think that was the moment that everything that Natsuko was really trying to like put in the back of her mind and not care really comes to shine, because without QJ we cannot detect the voids. So the whole thing about her preventing the future and change the bad ending was coming true, just in another way. So I think there was a little bit of confirmation about that. And just like in the movie, the voids break the siege and enter the city and start killing everybody in there. And it is like a mirror, because just like what Destiny was trying to do, some kid was being attacked by the void, and Natsuko rushed to protect the kid. And that's when she gets swallowed up by the void. I don't think she died, but she like was taken by the void, and that breaks Luke's mind, and that is the start of Luke's downfall in this isekai world. Now, for the final battle and the end of the anime, I think it was both epic and kind of tragic, because the animation was beautiful, the sound effect was excellent, but seeing Natsuko trying to like rescue Luke and the people like turning to this sludge and everything, it felt kind of hopeless. But every time that felt kind of hopeless, you still cling to the hope that something is going to change, like the waves are going to turn and everything will be alright. But you still keeps in mind the things that the bird keeps saying, that it's not possible to change the end of the movie, and that is why the finale is very well done. And then, just when everything goes to silent, the seed that Luke destroyed in the battle started to sprout again, and the whole world kind of resetted, and the voids were no longer there. So Luke's friends were alive, the other seeds were alive, QJ was alive, everybody that we saw in the anime came back to life. But that came at a cost, and that cost was that Natsuko and the director needed to go back to reality, and that was kind of, I think that was the interesting part, because it was a bittersweet ending, because Natsuko loved Luke, and I think she did not like love him just as a character that she saw on screen. She kind of like really love him as a real person, and Luke saw Natsuko as the first person that did not see him just as another fighter or as a hero. He saw her as a love interest. So kind of like a bittersweet ending for both of them, that they saved the world, but they could not be together to appreciate the happy ending after that. Now, the reason that I think Zenshu was one of the best original anime that I ever watched was that it went beyond just the technical aspects. Like, it went beyond just being good animation, excellent music, excellent voice acting. The characters were very well built, and even though I felt the whole anime kind of like revolve around Natsuko, I think that was the whole premise, because not in a narcissistic way. It came, the anime felt like more of a came to age story or a hero's journey around Natsuko. And the reason that I think that is the case is that when we saw episode 1, she felt like a isolated but genius character. Like, she was a genius and nobody's understand her, and she just doesn't want to understand other people too. And that's why her whole journey in the isekai movie was very interesting, because she learns to rely on others and to understand and talk to other people. And that's why throughout the episodes we saw that her banks, and like in the first episode we saw her just like a full on hair. We did not even saw her face in the first episodes, but at the end she was confident, and she like tie up her hair to other people see her hair, and I think that symbolized that she was ready to open up and create something even more beautiful that she could have done alone. And that's why I think that was the magic in Zenshu. But remember guys, this is just my opinion. Feel free to express your opinion in the comments below, and like this video, and if you want, subscribe too. And that was my whole review. Bye bye.